Hello friends, welcome to my channel Mukesh English. Friends, in this video, I'm going to provide you the summary of first semester BBA General English, which come under the university, Bangalore City University. So BCU students, welcome to my channel. And in this video, you'll come to know, you'll get all the lessons summary in one single video, you'll be getting all 7 lessons summary very comprehensively so that you need not watch any other videos one by one, because in one video you are getting all the lesson summary. So this is the first semester BBA General English. So before we go ahead with the summary, let's know about the syllabus. So which are those 7 lessons are prescribed in your syllabus? You have Shut Down the Shop and Sonnet 16, these two important poems. Then you have 3 short stories titled An Astrologer's Day with a photographer, the necklace. Then you have 2 essays. One is a speech, Go Kiss the World by Subroto Bagchi, and the another speech, The Rhetoric of Advertising. So these are the 7 lessons for the first semester BBA. So these 7 lessons summary I'm going to provide in this video. So you should also know the component, which are the components you have in your grammar. You have reading comprehension, vocabulary, communication, verbal, non-verbal communication, tenses, active passive voice, writing, dialogues. So I'm not going to make the videos on the language component, on the grammar. I have already done the videos on grammar. You can find the links of those videos in the description. So now let's begin the 7 lesson summary in single video. So friends, please do have some patience. It's a without break video. It's one single video which is going to give you the complete 7 lessons summary in single click. So to begin with, the lesson number 1, Shut Down the Shop. It's a poem by the famous poet, the famous Kannada poet and writer Nisar Ahmed. So let's know about this poem here. The poem Shut Down the Shop by Nisar Ahmed uses the metaphor of an old, outdated shop to convey a broader message about the change, relevance, and the inevitability of accepting life's transitions. So there are many people still they do not transform the business, they do not adjust with the changing time. So for those people, this shop is very, very remarkable. So we will discuss this poem stanza wise, line by line, so that you can easily understand and you can answer any questions, any forms of the questions like 2 marks, 5 marks, and 10 marks. You can easily answer. So the stanza number 1. The poet says, Shut down the shop. How long will you sport your scattered wares and display them for sale? However much you publicize, can you exhaust the stale contents? So in this stanza, the poet tells the shopkeeper to close the shop. The goods, the items which are kept in the shop are very old and very unattractive. And you do any advertisement, no amount of advertising can sell them. So the poet is here requesting, urging the shopkeeper to close the shop because its goods are very old, very unattractive, and they are not in the demand in the market. No matter how much effort is put into selling these stale contents, will not appeal to the people. So this highlights the idea that outdated things lose their value over the time. That's the importance, that's a message in this first stanza, the theme in this first stanza. Then in the stanza number 2, the poet says, though the shop is kept open always, a place that would not allow sunlight, wooden planks kept to guard the shop, the door that is century old, shut it so as not to reopen. Let not others ridicule you for your predicament. So the shop is old, dark, and guarded by ancient doors, very old doors. The poet advises closing it to avoid being laughed at by others. So the shop is described here as old, dark, neglected place with the doors and the planks that have not changed for a long time, very old doors. So the poet advises the shopkeeper to close it voluntarily, because keeping it open, people will laugh it. People will laugh, will make a mockery. So this is a warning about the consequences of not moving on when the time is right. So it's a warning for all the business people, businessmen, that if you don't change with the changing time, you cannot sustain. In the stanza number 3, the poet says, the octagon shaped clock that refuses to show time is broken down, handing cobwebs eaten away by the rustling metallic board. Is this not enough to reveal your trading? So here the shopkeeper's broken clock and the rusted signboard, they symbolize the shop's very poor condition. These signs show the shop is very outdated and very neglected. So the poet in this stanza, the poet points out the shop's worsening condition, like broken clock, rusted board, cobwebs. So these details show how neglected and irrelevant the shop has become. So it's a reflection of how time has passed the shop by, and its glory days are over now. Now this shop is not in the picture for trade. Further, in the next stanza, the poet says, the last of your employees have given up their jobs in search of new avenues. Who would buy even if you lend them fly covered lemon and garlic peppermint, when petty shops can sell imported toffees, chewing gums, and mesmerizing scent? So here you can see here all the employees have left the shop for in search of some better jobs. The shop sells very old fashioned items like lemon, garlic, which no one would like to buy, especially the modern and the attractive products are available. The employees have left the shop to find the better opportunities, and the goods being sold here are no more appealing to the new world, right? So this symbolizes a new world where the people are buying the imported sweets, chocolates, chewing gums, toffees, and the perfumes. So this symbolizes the shop's inability to keep up with the changing taste and competition. So we can see here, what does it show here? The shop does not have the ability to go on with the time. The shopkeeper has to change the products which can match with the changing time, with the rapid changing time, with the new opportunities, with the new demands in the market. So in the next stanza, the poet says, this street had a shop or two in those days. You were the ruler, provided all, as did Kamdhenu, but today can be found at every step a luxury shop that can supply anything at our doorstep. You too had supplied in the past refined, edible groceries without any fraud in weights and measures. So your shop was swarming with the customers all day and night. So in the past, this shop was very popular, very trusted for its good services, and it played a very important role in the community, just like how people still remember the mythical Kamdhenu. So, in the past, the shop was essential to the community, which was providing honest service, good products, and it was highly respected and very busy, just like the mythical Kamdhenu, which always fulfilled everyone's wishes. So, this stanza contrasts the shop's glorious past with the current state of decline. Today, people are doing home delivery, right? People are not going to any shop. Many people, they don't wish to go to shop. They all do the home delivery. So that means to say that the poet, the poet is going to talk to the poet is giving a message that look, it's a time to change. You need to change your strategies. The poet further says, but things are different now. Even if you beg, the buyers hesitate to buy anything. 1,000 or 2 was your capital hues, deadlines you could enthrall. Long before this mohalla became extant, now with a populace exceeding millions. So, in this stanza, what happens here? Time times have changed drastically. Competition is growing, population has also grown significantly, but the shop has not evolved to meet these challenges. The poet highlights that failing to adapt is leading to be left behind. If you fail to adapt, you are not in the race. You're not in the race to win the game of business. That's what he would like to convey here. The last stanza from this poem, the poet says, day after day, with increasing rivalry in trade, at least now change for the better. Before this petty shop could be discarded with contempt, shut down the shop on your own forever, lest you suffer dishonor and ridicule. Live your life well, like an honorable person in exile. So finally, the poet advises the shopkeeper to close the shop willingly before it becomes completely irrelevant. By doing so, they can preserve their dignity, they can live peacefully, just like a person who gets retirement, voluntary retirement with honor, rather than clinging to something outdated and they have to face the ridicule. So, finally, what can we say here after reading this poem? We find out the shop is outdated, no longer relevant in modern times. The competition and changing customer preferences have left it behind. It once had a glorious past but failed to adapt to new challenges. The poet advises the shopkeeper to accept the reality and close the shop with dignity. So, friends, this is about the lesson number 1, shut down the shop. Now we are moving to the lesson number 2. So, don't forget, in this video, you are getting all the 7 lessons summary in single video without any break. So, there is no commercial break. Lesson number 2 is again a poem, a sonnet, Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare, and it's a Shakespearean sonnet which is written in 3 quatrains plus 1 couplet. Each quatrain has 4 lines, so 3 into 4, 12, and the last couplet, the last 2 lines is called as a couplet 2. So 12 plus 2, 14. So the Shakespearean sonnet has a format of 14 lines, and this sonnet talks about the definition of true love. So those who believe in love, for them it's really interesting poem. Even I too believe in love. Yeah. So William Shakespeare's sonnet number 116, one of his most famous sonnets, which explores the theme of true love. The poem presents a timeless and idealistic view of love, describing it as a constant, unchanging, and eternal. Shakespeare uses great imagery and metaphors like lighthouse, guiding star, to emphasize love's steadfast nature in the face of challenges and the passage of time. It's written in very confident and very assertive tone. Even deaths also cannot change the definitions of love in literature. So let's begin the discussion of this sonnet 116 line by line. So first we shall discuss here the first 4 lines, the first quatrain. The poet says, William Shakespeare says, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not true love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. So the poet begins by describing what true love is not. What is not true love? True love is like the union of two minds that understand each other perfectly, which form very strong and very harmonious bond. There should not be any obstacles to such love. There should not be any kind of impediments. There should not be any barricades to such kind of true love, which means external challenges or internal challenges should not weaken or break it. Further, he says love that changes with the changing circumstances or disappears when partner changes or leaves, such kind of love is not a genuine love. Such kind of love is not a true love. So in this first quatrain, the poet says that the true love is constant and unshakable. It does not waver, does not change in spite of the external changes or internal changes in the beloved. The love which changes or which alters or which ends is not the true or real love. So that's a definition of love in this very first quatrain, in the first 4 lines. In the second quatrain, the poet says, "Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is a star to every wandering bark, whose worth is unknown, although his height be taken." So there's a great comparison. The poet has used a lot of metaphorical language here. The poet contrasts true love with its opposites, emphasizing its consistency or its constancy. Love is described as an ever fixed mark, just like the lighthouse, which always guides to all the ships when they lose their path due to the storms in the ocean. This suggests that love does not waver, no matter how turbulent, tsunami, anything happens, but love does not change. Love is also compared to a guiding star who guides the lost ships, who loses the path in the ocean, like pole star. So like the star, love provides direction and hope, even though in spite of that, we cannot measure, we cannot understand the true value of love. So, in this second quatrain, what do we find here? The poet conveys that true love is very steady, reliable force, unaffected by the life's difficulties. True love is something like a guide, source of comfort, just like a lighthouse, just like a star, pole star. Love's value is beyond comprehension. Nobody can measure it. No one can measure the true love's value. So this is here the glory of true love, with the help of, we can say, the lighthouse, with the help of the pole star, right? The poet has used a metaphorical language. Next, the third quatrain, from the line number 9 to 12, the poet says, "Love is not time's fool. Though rosy lips and cheeks, within his bending sickle's compass come, love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom." Very interesting line. Really, I appreciate. So in this stanza, the poet emphasizes that love is not subject to the effect of time. Time cannot affect love. Physical beauty, like rosy lips, cheeks, they will fade. Once we become aged, our hairs will get gray, right? Oh, that means to say our physical beauty get fade with the passage of time, but time cannot affect the true love. True love remains unaffected by the time. So that is the power of true love. Time is passing, that does not change or diminish true love. It endures even at the edge of doom, which refers to the end of life or judgment day. Even there's a mythological, there's a biblical references here, the edge of the doomsday. Even till the doomsday, the true love will always remain same, it will not change. So in this quatrain, the poet says that the true love is eternal, not influenced by the power of time, by the passage of time. It is not based on physical beauty, which always gets faded over the time. Love lasts forever. Love is eternal, beyond the life's end, and the life's end is symbolized by the doomsday. So now we have the last two lines of this sonnet, that is called couplet, the last two lines, which is always very strong line. William Shakespeare says that if this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. The poet concludes with a bold and very confident statement. He says that if his description of true love is incorrect, then you just imagine that I have never written anything and no one has ever experienced the real love. So this is very hyperbolic assertion which reinforces his certainty about the timeless, unchanging, and eternal nature of love. So in these two lines we find here Shakespeare is fully confident in his understanding of love, in his expression, his explanation of true love. He challenges anyone to disprove his definition of true love. The conclusion emphasizes to the enduring nature of true love. So that's about sonnet number 116. So what are the metaphors in the literary devices? Very quickly, I'll just go through. You can pause the video. We have metaphors here. The expressions, marriage of true minds, ever fixed mark, star to every wandering bark, rosy lips and cheeks, bending sickle's compass, right? These are all the metaphors. Then we find personification. Time is personified. Love is not time's fool, time sickle. Then there is a paradox in the expression, love is not love, which alters when its alteration finds. Then we have here hyperbole in the expression, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. Then there's an alliteration, bends with the remover to remove. Then we have here rhetorical question, which we find in the last couplet. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. So this is about sonnet number 116. Now we are moving to the third lesson. As I told you, don't disconnect this video. You have 7 lessons continuously without any break. Even I'm also not taking a break. It's a continuous video, right? Lesson number 3, An Astrologer's Day. Famous story by R.K. Narayan. So all of us know about R.K. Narayan, Rasipuram, Krishna Swami, Iyer, Narayan Swami. That is the name of this famous English writer, Indian English writer, who is well known for his collection of short stories, Malgudi Days. So you should watch all the Malgudi Days videos which are available on YouTube. Excellent writer, we can never forget. So what is this story about? So An Astrologer's Day by R.K. Narayan is a very captivating, very interesting short story which is set in a very vibrant marketplace which shows the life of a man who appears to have great knowledge of astrology. With its rich descriptions, dramatic encounters, themes of guilt, deception, human nature, the story portrays how appearances can be deceiving and how chance events shape lives. So, through a simple but powerful narrative, the story shows the complexities of human emotions and the search for redemption. So, which are the characters we have in the story here? We have 4 important characters. One is the astrologer. There's a clever man who pretends to be an astrologer to escape from some trouble, his past troubles. Then Guru Nanak, a man who is seeking revenge on the person who attacked him quite years ago. Then astrologer's wife, then marketplace vendors in the crowds. They're all background characters. Now let's begin the story. An Astrologer's Day. The astrologer works in a busy marketplace, sitting under a tamarind tree. He looks important with his painted forehead, dark whiskers, and a saffron turban. His tools, what are the tools he have? His tools have like cowrie shells, charts, palm leaves, making him seem that he's very buddhiman, very wise person. You might have seen those Jyotish. He's not a real astrologer. He relies on observing people, listening to their problems, and he gives a very smart guesses that make sense to them, and people think he's an astrologer, right? Jugaad system. The marketplace is noisy and full of life. It has many traders, just like junk sellers, medicine sellers, magicians, food vendors. The place is lit with flares, gas lights, shop lights, which create a dramatic atmosphere that suits to the astrologer's work. People are drawn, people are coming to, people are very much attracted towards astrologer's appearance and the words, just like bees are attracted to the flowers. The astrologer ran away from his village a long time ago. So this now we are coming to the past, Bhutkal, past of this astrologer. This astrologer had run away from his village long time ago. He left without telling anybody because he thought he had killed a man during a fight. Because he thought he had killed a man during his fight, he started a new life in the city, marrying, settling down, but he always carried a guilt in his heart that he had killed somebody during a fight. One evening, the astrologer is about to leave. A stranger named Guru Nanak stops him. Guru Nanak challenges the astrologer to prove his skill and bets money on it. The astrologer feels nervous, but he agrees to challenge after some bargaining. The astrologer tells Guru Nanak some surprising details about his past. So, what were the surprising details about Guru Nanak? The astrologer says that Guru Nanak was attacked with a knife and left in a well to die. He survived because someone saved him. The man Guru Nanak is searching for is dead, crushed under a lorry for 4 months ago. Guru Nanak is shocked and believes the astrologer's words. Really? The astrologer advises Guru Nanak to return home and never travel south as his life could be in danger. Guru Nanak accepts his advice, pays the astrologer, and leaves. Very, very clever guy this is. Back at home, the astrologer tells his wife the truth, and he says he was the one who attacked Guru Nanak in the past. The astrologer says to his wife, I am the only one person who attacked this Guru Nanak in the. I'm sorry. It is not Guru Nanak. I'm extremely sorry. It is Guru Nayak. I'm sorry for this one. I apologize for this wrong pronunciation. It is Guru Nayak. He thought he had killed Guru Nayak, which is why that's the reason that he had run away from his village. Now he feels relieved to know Guru Nayak is alive and he did not commit any murder. The astrologer's wife is shocked but glad that he no longer feels guilty. The astrologer is finally at peace, knowing that his past mistake did not result in someone's death. So, this is how the story ends here. In this story, we find some themes like fate versus free will, guilt and redemption. Appearances can be deceptive sometimes. So, friends, this story shows how guilt, chance, and clever thinking can change someone's life. So this is about An Astrologer's Day by R.K. Narayan, a short summary. So don't run away, stay connected. Let's move to the next lesson here. Lesson number 4 with the photographer, written by Stephen written by Stephen Leacock. Stephen Leacock, a famous Canadian humorist, very much famous for his humorous remark. Stephen Leacock from Canada, a Canadian humorist. The photographer is a very funny and a very thoughtful story about a man who goes to a photographer to take his picture. To get his picture taken. The photographer tries to change his face and body to make him look perfect, but the man doesn't like it. He wants a photo that shows how he truly is, not a fake version. So, this story is going to teach us about accepting ourselves, being proud of who we are, even if we are not perfect. So, let's begin it. There are two characters, one is the narrator, another is the photographer. So, a man goes to a photographer to get his picture taken. The photographer doesn't seem excited to take the photo and asks the man to wait while he gets ready. The man waits for a long time and he starts to feel like he's bothering the photographer. When the man finally gets in front of the camera, the photographer starts moving the things around to make sure the light is just right. The photographer keeps telling the man to move his head, open his mouth, and adjust his body in different ways. The photographer keeps changing the things about the man's face and body, but the man does not like it. The man gets upset because the photographer is trying to change his face too much. He says that this is his face and he has lived with it for many years. He wants the photographer to take a picture of him just as he is. While the man is still talking, the photographer quickly takes the picture without asking if he's ready. The photographer says he got the photo at just the right moment, but the man is not happy with it. Why? What's the reason behind it? A few days later, the man goes back to see the picture. The photographer has changed the photo a lot. He has made some modification. He made the man's eyes and mouth look different, even changed his hair. The man doesn't like these changes and feels upset because the picture doesn't look like him anymore. The man tells the photographer that he just wanted a picture of himself, not one that has been changed to look perfect. He says he wanted a photo that shows who he really is, not a picture that looks fake. The man leaves the photographer's studio feeling sad and upset. The story ends here. The story teaches us that it's okay to be ourselves. We don't need to look perfect and we should love who we are. It also shows that trying to make something perfect can sometimes make it worse or not real anymore. So, with this photograph, I just remember today we are living in the world of selfie. So, we may look so ugly in the real life, but the moment we see ourselves in the selfie mode, we feel so happy. So, this is a contrast. We have to accept the reality. So, friends, now we are moving to the lesson number 5, The Necklace, by the famous French writer D. Guy Maupassant. It's a French pronunciation. D. Guy. Somebody say, I'm sorry. It is Guy D. Guy D. G-U-I. It should be G-U-I. Guy D. Maupassant. It's not D. Guy. It's a Guy D. G-U-I. The Necklace, it's a short story by Guy de Maupassant, the French writer, French author, 19th century French author. It explores the themes of vanity, social class, and the consequences of materialism. It follows the life of a woman who, despite having a modest life, desires for luxury and beauty, which leads to series of life-changing events. The story highlights the impact of pride and appearances on people's lives, and it shows how small actions can lead to a significant and everlasting consequences. Let us see here. We find here three important characters here. Mathilde Loisel, a beautiful but dissatisfied woman who always wants luxury. Then Monsieur Loisel, who is husband of Mathilde, Mathilde's husband, and Madame Forestier, Mathilde's wealthy man who lends her necklace. So these are three important characters, and these are all French names because it's written by French author. So Mathilde Loisel is a beautiful young woman, but she's unhappy because she was born into poor family. She dreams of having a luxurious life where she would like to get fine clothes, jewelry, riches. Although her husband is a clerk in the Ministry of Public Instruction, she feels that she deserves a better life, which is filled with wealth and status. She complains about her modest house, old furniture, and the simple life which she is leading. One day, Mathilde's husband comes home with an invitation to a grand ball. hosted by the Minister of Public Instruction. Minister say he receives an invitation to go to a party, a government party. He's excited and hopes she will be pleased, but Mathilde is upset. She doesn't want to attend the ball. Ball means party because she has nothing to wear. She doesn't have expensive clothes. She feels embarrassed. She feels embarrassed by her lack of elegant clothes. She doesn't want to go to the ball in her plain clothes, in her simple clothes. To make her happy, her husband suggests that she should buy a new dress, and he offers her the 400 francs he had saved to buy a hunting rifle so she can purchase a beautiful dress. Mathilde agrees and she buys a simple but elegant dress for the occasion. However, she is still not satisfied because she does not have jewelry with her. She feels that without jewels, she will look poor compared to the other women at the party, at the ball. Mathilde tells her husband that she needs jewelry to look elegant. So and he suggests her to ask her rich friend, Madame Forestier, to lend her some jewels. Mathilde goes to her friend's house, explains about her problems. Madame Forestier is happy to help and takes Mathilde to a jewelry collection. There, Mathilde picks out a stunning diamond necklace, and Madame Forestier lends it to her, telling her to take care of it, to take a good care of it. Mathilde attends the party, the ball. She is the center of attention. She is admired by everyone for her beauty and elegance. The men at the ball cannot stop looking at her. Means everybody was observing, especially men. She dances with passion, feels like a queen. She is thrilled by the attention she receives, feeling that her dreams of luxurious life have come true, and if only for a night. Only for this night, her luxurious life has come true. Just a minute, please hold it. Just a minute. I just turned off my charger. It's getting overcharged. So what happens later? So after the party, after the ball, Mathilde and her husband leave the venue in the nearly hours of the morning, quite early morning. They are unable to find a cab, and they so because they have to walk through the streets, shivering in the cold. When they finally arrive home, Mathilde realizes that the diamond necklace is missing. She panics, checks her dress and clock, but the necklace is nowhere to be found. Mathilde and husband they search everywhere hoping to find the necklace. Her husband again goes through from streets to streets. He returns and he searches every sign of missing the jewelry, but he finds nothing. They visit police stations, newspapers, even the cab companies. Even they also offer a reward for the necklace return, but still there is no trace of the necklace. With no hope of recovering the original necklace, they decide to replace it. They thought it's better, we'll buy a new one and we'll give the new one to Madame Forestier. They visit many jewelry and finally find a necklace that looks exactly like the one Mathilde had borrowed. This necklace cost 36,000 francs. Question will appear for 2 marks. The new necklace cost 36,000 francs, which is really a huge sum of money. Mathilde and her husband borrow money from every possible source, friends, relatives, even money lenders. Somehow they manage to gather enough money to buy the replacement necklace, and they give it to Madame Forestier without revealing that it's a replacement. Mathilde and her husband now have to repay the 36,000 francs which they borrowed. They struggle to do so, and their life becomes very miserable, very difficult. They give up all the comforts and they start living in poverty. They move into a cheaper apartment. They dismiss their servant. Mathilde does all the housework herself. She washes the clothes, cooks, does the shopping with a tight budget. She works hard every day, and over the next 10 years, Loisels slowly pay off their debt. Slowly, Loisels pay off their debt. Then what happens? After 10 years, Mathilde and her husband have finally repaid all the debts. Mathilde, now worn out and aged by the hard life which she has been leading, she meets Madame Forestier again while walking in the Champs-Élysées. Madame Forestier does not recognize her at first because Mathilde has changed so much. Mathilde tells Madame Forestier the story of how they had to replace the necklace and how they spent 10 years working hard to repay the debt. Madame Forestier is shocked. She says that the necklace was not real. It was a fake made of paste. It was worth only 500 francs, not the 36,000 francs they had paid to replace it. Oh my God. So this story highlights the themes of materialism. So this is how the story ends. It shows the theme of materialism, vanity, and consequences of pride, making us reflect on the true value of things and the cost of chasing a superficial dream. So this is about the story The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant, French writer. So now we are moving to lesson number 6. Lesson number 6, very interesting lesson. Go kiss the world. Wow. You'll be thinking whom to kiss. No, nobody. You have to kiss the world. Go kiss the world. It's a speech by Subroto Bagachi. Subroto Bagachi, the famous Indian entrepreneur, business leader, the co-founder of a famous technology company, Mindtree. Subroto Bagachi Go Kiss the World is an inspiring speech delivered by Subroto Bagchi to the class of 2006 at the IIM Bangalore. I forgot to mention here, it's at IIM Bangalore. In this speech, Bagchi shares his words of wisdom Bakshi shares his words of wisdom and lessons imparted by his parents, what he had learned from his parents. These lessons illuminate the true meaning of success and are closely tied to significant events from Bakshi's life. So let us see what are the lessons he had learned from his parents and how we get inspired from Subroto Bagchi. So Bakshi grew up as the youngest of 5 brothers. His father worked as a government officer in small towns with no electricity or proper schools. The family moved often, and he was house schooled. Sometimes he had to study at home till he was 8 years. Despite these tough conditions, his parents taught him valuable lessons about respect, modesty, and how to value the relationship over the material things. Subroto Bakchi's father had a government provided jeep, but he used it only for work, never to commute. He never used the jeep, the government vehicle, for his personal work. He taught his children that the jeep was not his personal property, but a resource given by the government. They were also taught to treat everyone with respect, including their driver, and they used to call the driver as Dada. Subroto Bakchi passed the same lesson to his children, teaching them to respect everyone, no matter whatever the job they are pursuing. The family did not own a radio or any house. They didn't have any radio, no house. When Subroto Bakshi asked why his father joked when they had 5 radios, referring to his 5 sons, his father used to say that, why do I require radio? I have 5 radios. So those 5 radios means to say his 5 sons. So he didn't want a house since they always lived in a government accommodations, like government apartments, we call it as a. um, this taught Bakchi that success is not about owning things, but about being content, being satisfied with what you have, and focusing on the things that really matter. Subrata Bakchi's mother, despite challenging living conditions, made their homes beautiful by planting flowers and building small fences, teaching him that his mother taught him that success is about what you leave behind, not just what you create for yourself. Even though she lost her sight over the time, she never complained. Her determination to stay independent and continue living her life was an important lesson for Subroto Bakchi. Subroto Bakchi began reading the newspaper to his mother when he was young, which made him feel connected to the world beyond his small town. He even imagined as a protector during the 1965 war, which helped him understand the power of imagination and having a vision for the future. Despite being blind, Bakchi's mother never let her condition stop her. She kept doing her daily routines like yoga, washing clothes, showing him that the true success is about not being held back by the challenges and having the strength to rise above them. When Bakshi asked her mother about her blindness, she said she didn't see darkness, she just sees only light, which taught him that success is about maintaining a positive outlook no matter what. Subrata Bakshi's father, even in his final moments after being badly burnt, his father was burnt and he was in the deathbed, was more concerned about others. For example, the overworked nurse in the hospital, he was concerned about those nurses. This showed Bakshi that success is about caring for others even when you are in pain. When you are in pain, so for Bakchi, success is not about having a lot of money or fame. It's about the legacy you leave behind, the values you pass on, and the positive impact you make on others. His father lived by simple values of respect, frugality, and care for others, even though he didn't have much. His mother, despite her blindness, her struggles, she created a very lasting impact, an eternal impact with her love and determination. So the final message, as his mother was near the end of her life, she told him to go and kiss the world, which encouraged him to live a life full of passion, service, and kindness. This advice summed up the entire speech. Success is about embracing the world and leaving a positive mark on it. So, in simple words, we can conclude Subroto Bakchi's speech teaches that real success is about kindness, respect, imagination, and making a difference in the world. It's not about what you own, but the positive impact you leave behind and the values you live by. So, this is about the lesson number 6, and now we are moving to the last lesson of the first semester BBA General English syllabus. In single video, all the 7 lessons are done. With a lot of patience, you have been listening to me. Now, the last lesson you have here, the rhetoric advertising. It's an essay by Stuart Hirschberg. Stuart Hirschberg is a famous academician, and he's known for his work in the rhetoric composition style. So it's an essay about advertisement. So in this essay, the rhetoric of advertisement, Stewart explains the techniques used in advertising to persuade, to convince the audiences, and the ways in which advertisers manipulate the emotions, logic, and the credibility to influence consumer behavior. So, especially this lesson is very important for the commerce and management students. I think from this point of view, only this essay is in the syllabus. So, what happens here? The author says here, ads are like the advertisements are like arguments which are designed to persuade the people, convince people. So three important techniques are used here: pathos, logos, and ethos. Pathos are used to appeal the emotions like happiness, love. Logos are used to show the facts and the logic, where we show the product benefits. Ethos, which depends on the credibility, like trusted brands and the celebrities. Then advertising techniques. So there are three important techniques. One is the positive associations, which are where linking the products to the appealing ideas like glamour, adventure. Then avoiding the negativity, where the shifting focus away from the harmful aspects like cigarette ad, which shows the healthy outdoor life. Verbal, visual, and with the verbal tools, where they use a lot of images and the words to create a convincing message. Then creating consumer desires. How? In the three ways. One is the emotional social needs, another is the unrealistic expectations, and the next one is the identity building. Then emotional appeals, social connection, right? Any product which fit to the group, like car shows the status. Luxury appeal, which link the high-end product to the one particular elite lifestyle. Nostalgia, which brings happiness like food products, referencing to the tradition. Patriotism, which suggests buying a product which shows a kind of national pride or values. Then in this essay, we also find here some more important fears. Which are the fears in the advertising industry? Anxiety, like highlighting the problems like missed memories, health risk, which offer the product as a solution. Subtle pressure, which shows the consequences of not choosing their product, like risk in baby food. Emotional manipulation, play on fears to make products seem essential. So I brought like this notes or this video about this in the last chapter. Rhetoric advertisement is in the form of the notes. So you need to read the chapter properly because it's lengthy one. So I thought let me give the notes here. Corporate advertising. So we find here three important elements: positive image, then CSR initiatives. They show a lot of social contributions and the environmental efforts to make their company as a brand. Friendly tone, the messages which look very responsible. Then we find here the language. What kind of language do they use? The credible claims, the claims which make the people, the words which sounds very much credibility. Whistle words, right? Like virtually create the positive impressions about guaranteeing the results, like hair fall 99.99, like Dettol 99.99% germs free, like they use in during COVID. They say 99.99, not 100%. Technical terms, very scientific sounding language which adds false credibility, like the insurance companies where nobody can understand those technical terms. Ethical advertising, fair persuasion, then transparency, avoid the manipulation. Then finally, so hence we can say that advertising uses a variety of persuasive techniques, convincing techniques, both positive and negative, we have seen in this essay here, to influence the consumer behavior. These techniques involve emotional manipulation, logical arguments, credibility building strategies. However, these persuasive practices raise the ethical concerns, and it's important to critically assess the tactics advertisers use to ensure they are acting responsibly and honestly. So, this is about the last lesson: rhetoric, advertising. So friends, in this particular video, we have covered the 7 lessons comprehensively with the summary: shut down the shop, Sonnet 116, an astrologer's day with the photographer, the necklace, go kiss the world speech, the rhetoric of advertising. So friends, the 7 lesson summary is done in single video without any break. So if you like this video, click on the like button, write in the comment box, and subscribe the channel if you have not yet done it. If you're not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe, because in the second semester, third semester, fourth semester, you'll be getting the videos, and maybe very shortly we'll also be getting the model question paper solution. And for the grammar item, for the language component, for the grammar topics, you just see the links in the description. You will get the grammar videos links also. So friends, thank you so much. Thank you so much, first semester BBA BCU students, for watching my video. If you have any questions, you can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Stay connected with my channel Mukesh English. I wish you very good luck for the examination. Thank you so much once again.